Happy Hump Day, Party Animal Nation. Thank you so much for hitting the play button today. Got a great show for you. I got members of the Alpine Camp, which is a great band from Los Angeles, California. They're going to be on here with me talking about their new EP and much, much more. But before we get into all of the fun today, like I said last week, you're going to hear me say this on the show for the next couple of months because we're taking a survey of our listeners, and we like for you to participate. It's going to help us learn more about you, and it doesn't matter how long you've been listening or how frequently you listen to this show. So please take a few minutes and visit our website at www.rrnonline.com, and you'll find the listener survey link right on the homepage, and you can complete the survey anonymously, and it will be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much once again for hitting that play button. Time to have a little fun. I hope you're having a great week so far. I know mine is going fantastic. And with that said, let's go ahead and crank it up. All right, let's get settled in and put your earbuds in. I am hashtag RDM Russell Devin McLain, and you're listening to the Radio Random Network. I hope your week's going well. It's been a busy week for me. I've got a lot going on. We got a great show for you today, by the way. We'll get to all that in a few minutes. The first thing I want to let everybody know is we got a brand new Facebook page. That's right. So be sure and go give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/Radio Random Network. You can find out about upcoming guests and keep up with daily news and updates and giveaways and all that good stuff. Speaking of giveaways, getting ready to head to Nashville, Tennessee for the 40th anniversary Charlie Daniels Volunteer Jam. That's going to be taking place August 12th, 2015. And be sure and tune in Friday where my guest is going to be Mr. Daryl Singletary, and I'll tell you how to win tickets from the Radio Random Network to attend the 40th anniversary Charlie Daniels Volunteer Jam. With all of that said, like I said, we got a big show for you today. I'm going to be joined by a band out of Los Angeles, California called the Alpine Camp. Mr. Charles Etienne and Chris Bell is going to be joining me to talk about their brand new EP and all that good stuff. Just want to let you know before we get everything started that the Radio Random Network is fan-supported and listener-supported, and there's many ways that you can support. You can leave a rating and review on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. That helps with the algorithms, helps us get discovered. And you can also keep the show free by shopping with the official sponsors of the Radio Random Network, such as audibletrial.com/Radio Random. You can get a free audiobook when you sign up for a 30-day free trial. And you can also support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. There's many ways to support the Radio Random Network, and for more on how to support, just visit the website at www.rrnonline.com. We're also on Twitter at RRNLive, and you can find us on Instagram at Radio Random Network. With all that said, guys, my guest today on the Radio Random Network, calling me all the way from California, got a little band called the Alpine Camp. We're going to be talking about their new EP, Adventure, and a lot of other good musical stuff. I'm talking to none other than Mr. Chris Bell and Charles Etienne. Did I say it right?
Yeah, that's absolutely it. That's it.
Yes, indeed. So how you fellas doing today?
We're doing good. I'm in L.A., and this is Chris, by the way. I'm in L.A., and I guess Charles is trying to stay cool out there in Laughlin.
Yeah, before we...
Yeah, it's...
Go ahead, brother.
It's not easy. I mean, it is hot over here, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm keeping the beers cold, so that's all right.
That's the only thing you can do in that kind of weather. I'm down here in Louisiana, so I think you and I got a lot in common as far as that heat thing goes.
Yeah.
We both sweating, and then your boy Chris is over there. He's having a good time over in L.A.
Well, I've got the AC up myself, so it's not exactly the North Pole over here.
Well, what's it like in L.A. today, by the way?
Well, you're going to be angry. It's like 72.
Yeah, exactly. It's. I seen the devil slurping on a Slurpee a while ago, fellas. I ain't lying to you. It's hot as hell out here. But anyway, guys, let's talk some music. Let's start off by talking about the name of the band because it's very original, and give us a little insight on where that name come from.
Well, even though we're in the city of Los Angeles, and most people don't think about the outdoors, we're abutted on each side, on the north and northwest and northeast sides, by pretty large forests. One of them is the Angeles National Forest, and one of them is the Los Padres National Forest. And actually, the Los Padres Forest has the largest section in North America of unpaved wilderness.
Really?
So we do a lot of, there's like a condor, the California condor sanctuaries up there, and we've got cougars and bears and all sorts of stuff. So we spend a lot of time outdoors, and so we thought that it might be, you can do a lot of hiking, and the trail camps. I always thought the trail camp signs looked really cool, so I was like, hey, let's call the band the Alpine Camp. And there's an added bonus that since it starts with the letter A, we're often at the top of whatever media list. So it's twofold, and that's kind of where we're coming from.
Yes, indeed. Well, how did you guys? How did all this come together? How did you guys get together there,
Charles?
Well, I mean, that was when we were kids. We lived in Connecticut. I was born in Canada, and I think Chris was born in the South somewhere. But we both moved really young to the East Coast, and we're both playing music. And I think 15 years old, 15 or 16, I met Chris, and we started making music in a band called, I don't even remember, but I mean, many iterations of Chris and I making music together later, something like 20 years. We're still doing it. So it's been a long time, and I think every time we learn a little something about the project that we were doing before, and we say, oh, that worked, that didn't work. We get better at our instruments, and we just keep learning, and we enjoy it. I don't think we'll ever stop.
Right. And with that said, Charles, you play the keyboard in the band. Now, was music a part of your? You talk about you and Chris being together as kids, making music and everything. But was music a part of your household?
Yeah, my dad, my mother was like a visual artist, so she painted far back as I can remember. My dad was a drummer. He played drums in little jazz trios in where he grew up, and I always remember having a drum set in the living room. So as a kid, a drum set, I mean, it's the ultimate toy. So I would just play it all the time. And a little later, I started taking piano lessons, and up until about 2 years ago, I really played the drums. I mean, I was a drummer. All the shows we played, I played the drums. And then, we had something happen in our lives, and I didn't really want to play the drums anymore. And Chris kind of let some time pass, and he was like, hey, why don't you try doing something else? You can play the piano, try that. And so, really, I've just been catching up. I am not that good, so I have a lot of catching up to do. So I have, I've been taking lessons, and I'm just trying to practice as much as I can. And so the piano thing is, it's not new, but it's new in terms of like playing live.
Yeah, it's kind of a different feel from going, I guess, from the practice room to the stage. I guess you get kind of taken over with a certain feeling and the emotions and everything. But with all that said, Chris, now you're the guitar player.
Yeah, I am. And you know what, Russell? Don't let Charles sell himself short. He was a drummer in one of our bands for 10 plus years, and the guy is amazing on pretty much any instrument. And I think it's really cool. When you're in a band, and I can only imagine that when you're playing drums and everybody else has a melodic instrument in their hand and you're writing music, you kind of feel a little bit handicapped because
Right.
You can't really contribute as much. So to be just on the sidelines and watching Charles, the guy really, I don't want to call him a savant because that means that he can't really do anything else in life, but he's absolutely amazing, and his piano work is, especially live, some of the jams we get into are, he leads them, and he's really our band leader, and that's the advantage that we have, that since he was a drummer and he's used to kind of calling out the changes and everything, to have that coming from a melodic place is really, really cool.
So he's one of those, you know, like I only can do what I do, and he gets on stage and, you know, he just burns it up.
For sure. Myself, I'll gladly say that I'm the least talented musician in the band, but, you know, it's that old country thing. All you need is 3 chords and the truth. So that's kind of our mantra.
There's a lot of people that made a lot of money off of that too. They've I mean, by example, Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson.
Well, here's hoping. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Oh man, so my new thing is just I've been and I know Chris is gonna make fun of me for this, but I've got the same bug that our good friend Harold, guitar player, has, which is, you know, getting into vinyl. And I had a larger collection of vinyl in the past, and I've gotten rid of a lot of it, and I got down, and now I'm back to buying it. And on eBay this morning, I've been on a Willie Nelson record, so it's fun. It's my new obsession with records.
Yes, indeed. Well, I mean that's kind of coming back. It's kind of crazy, but the vinyl is kind of made a comeback a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that's kind of doing the same thing.
Well, I can't speak to why they do it, but I'll tell you, for me, there was so I just moved into a new house, and we have a room that doesn't have a television in it. We my wife and I kind of made sure, okay, here, you know, we can sit and listen to music. So I set up the stereo, and I had this record player, and I said, you know what, I'll put this out here because I like it and I remember enjoying it. And it clicked for me that there's a ceremony involved. It's very subconscious. You have to work harder to get to listen to music with the record, and your options are limited. And I think those two aspects of it make it so much more enjoyable when you hear the song than when you're listening to, you know, and I love Spotify and I love Pandora and everything, but the instant gratification of just being able to say, oh, here, this song, I'm listening to it, here it is. You don't have to work as hard, so the pleasure's not as great.
Right. And with that said, real quick, you was talking about Willie Nelson. What's the favorite track for that record, Willie Nelson? What's the name of the record you got for Willie there?
Which one did you buy, Charles? Did we lose Charles? Sorry. Shotgun Willie is the one that got that Shotgun Willie track on it.
Yes, indeed.
Well, Russell, I'll tell you what. When my wife and I we were probably a year away from getting married, and we still didn't really have our song. And we ended up going out on the tour for when Willie Nelson came through L.A., he was performing Stardust in its entirety.
Wow.
So we heard Blue Skies, and I was like, man, this would be a perfect wedding song. So that's what we did for our first dance. And then when we play live now, what do we do? We do Whiskey River live, and that can go off. So we've got a lot of connection to Mr. Nelson, I guess.
Yes, indeed. Now, with that said, Chris, back to you there. The guitar and everything. Who were some of your influences?
Well, my influences, I got to say, are a lot different than the way I play. I've always been a huge improv fan, you know, the Dead, Fish, anything like that along those lines. That's probably, I listen to everything, but typically what I listen to has some sort of an improvisational hint to it. And then a few years ago, before we started this band, I went out to Nashville with my wife, and I kind of rediscovered country music, and then dove down the rabbit hole of more bluegrass and stuff. So I listen to a lot of bluegrass. I listen to a lot of, I guess you'd call it outlaw country, and, you know, the new Americana. So those are kind of my influences. I know that didn't really narrow it down, but
so basically, what you're not really a Luke Bryan fan, pretty much. Is that what you're saying?
No, no new country.
It's all good, man. I'm just watching the stuff on social media and everything. With I think Luke Bryan said something about the you know, he kind of put down on the old guys with the outlaw country and everything, and there's a lot of people on there that lit his ass up for it, but you know,
yeah, you know. There is some guilty pleasures that I have, but as far as the new guys, I mean, I'd say that maybe, you know, Zach Brown kind of makes that transition, the Dierks Bentley a little bit, that kind of stuff. I mean, I would never go full on like Florida Georgia Line or anything like that.
No, I don't blame you. Well, with all that said, you guys both are great. Y'all are songwriters, and who is I guess some inspirations as far as songwriting goes? Who such as Willie Nelson or somebody like that? Do y'all are y'all inspired by people like that?
Charles, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, and without sounding like, we're obsessed with marketing or anything like that, but I think if you're writing music for yourself, you can go and write that in your bedroom, and you can, and that's fine. But if you're writing music to try to get other people to enjoy it, there are some, they're not hard and fast rules, but there are some criteria that you could use to your advantage. And what we do, and we talk about it all the time when we're writing songs, is just keep it simple. I mean, most of our songs, if they're not 1/4, they're 1/4/5. I mean, in terms of the chord structure, it's extremely simple, which does something which allows us to sort of improvise live. We feel very, very comfortable to improvise live on. And in terms of the overall structure, verse, chorus, this kind of thing, it's all very recognizable. And we do that not because we don't know how to do anything else, but because we know that even if you've never heard the song before, it can become recognizable very fast and enjoyable. That said, the musical influence is the things that subconsciously get put into our songs. I mean, I grew up listening to a ton of jazz. I grew up, like I said, my dad was a jazz guy, and so just a ton of jazz. And then, in high school, I got into classic rock. I mean, Zeppelin, Beatles, all that stuff, Floyd. And then later on, it exploded. Chris and I actually worked together for Warner Brothers.
Really?
And I remember, sorry?
I was just commenting. I just said, really?
Oh, well, I mean, let's not glorify it. We were barely interns, or we were what are they called? Like when you hire staff. We were basically staff. Where we were put in a conference room. It was just Chris. This is the dumbest thing they could have ever done. They put Chris and I in a conference room alone with the computers and access to their database. So, I mean, Chris and I were open. We had this. I don't remember what the database was, but it's every freaking song ever written. So, and in every genre. Right. And so it was like, I don't know anything about, mid-60s progressive rock. And then you just go down this, like you said, this rabbit hole of like one band and then listening to another band and listening to another band. And they would have this archive, this huge vault room. You could go and listen to whatever you wanted. We basically we never did any work for them whatsoever. sat there, listened to music. We played video games, and we would just screw off. It was like the best job I've ever had.
That's awesome.
Let me jump on what Charles was talking about there. As far as he kind of mentioned that, like the Eastern European progressive metal and stuff like that. I mean, we all went through in past bands, super technical, super, unnecessary changes just for the sake of making changes in a song. And I've totally gotten over myself as far as the chorus doesn't even need to be different chords than the verse, so to speak, especially with the instrumentation that we use, because we can add dynamics to the song in that way. But that's one of the things that really draws me to country and to bluegrass and stuff, is that you can have kind of a simple chord structure, but whether you're looking at a restaurant menu or you're writing a song, a lot of times the simpler the better. If it's good ingredients, it's going to make a good final product. And those parameters, working within those parameters, have led to more complicated jams in the live setting. So I totally agree with Charles there, and that's something that I want to continue to be able to work on.
Yes, indeed. Now, with all that said, you guys have worked with a lot of different artists, right?
We have, yeah.
Such as
from this band to our last band was more of a blues rock kind of band, most comparable to like the Black Crowes. So we've worked with and opened with is different a different thing. But we've opened up for quite a few good artists, from members of the Crows to the Allman Brothers to even back in the day, Roberta Flack. So
wow.
But we're still in our 30s. But we were pretty young when all that happened. So we're still chugging along, and it's really been cool with this project being able to bring in the pedal steel player and the banjo player, and we're in LA, we're not in Nashville, so the guys that we get are kind of are super in high demand in Los Angeles because there's just not as many of them.
Really?
And they all know each other.
Yeah, they all know each other.
They all seem to be buddies. They're like, oh yeah, no, I heard of you guys from Bobby.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's talk a little bit about the new EP titled Adventure. Give us a little insight on how that come about.
Well, the band's pretty new, and we put out an EP, a 6-song EP last year, and we were talking about doing some promotion and getting a radio promotion guy this time around. And what we found out was the radio stations do not want anything that is old. So we had to come up with 2 new tracks, and we were writing new songs anyway. So we kind of went through our list of songs, and, we had like 10 or 12 songs, and we went through them and kind of voted on our 2 favorites and decided to make those the EP. And I think it turned out really well because they're totally different. It's like it's the same instrumentation, but it's 2 looks at the same band, and I think it gives people a lot of dynamics. And you can say, hey, wow, the Alpine Camp has a number of sounds going for them. You know what I mean?
Yes, indeed. Well, that's pretty interesting. Now, so what any goals or plans for the rest of the year? What you guys got going on?
Well, not to dominate the conversation here, but basically we're in the tail end of our first summer tour right now. We've got a show this coming weekend up in the woods in the Los Padres Forest, and then we've got one last date after that in San Diego, and then we're done for a while. So right now the plan is to let the EP kind of gel into the radio rotation. We're already getting a lot of play all over the country right now. We've got about 20 stations playing it, and hopefully that'll continue, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of traction from that, as well as the shows we've already played. And then we may do some quick like a quick California run before the end of the year, as far 4 or 5 dates, and then start looking towards 2016.
Yes, indeed. That's what it's all about. And with all that said, guys, before I let you go, is there any advice you can share with any up-and-coming singer-songwriters or musicians that maybe want to follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, do it. Absolutely. Don't ever stop. The only reason it's not going to be fun or successful or anything like that is because you stopped. Don't ever stop.
Yeah, we've been doing this for over 20 years, and you got to just do it for yourself. You can't be doing it for anything else. You can't be doing it to make it big or get famous. You have to do it because you want to hear the songs, or the songs that you want to hear don't exist yet. So just keep writing. And Russell, we really appreciate you having us on the show, and I hope that your listeners will, check us out and listen to us on Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff. So we really, really appreciate the opportunity you're giving independent artists like ourselves, and we're big fans of you.
Thank you very much,
see
man.
live music.
Yes, indeed. Support your local musicians.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, for more information, you can go to thealpinecamp.com, and you can connect with them on their social media. You can find out where they're playing. And the EP, it's available on iTunes, correct?
Yes, sir.
And pretty much all major popular streaming networks, you can probably find it. Go support these guys. Support local music. Support musicians in general. And Chris, Charles, it was an honor and a pleasure to talk with you guys today. Thank you very much for calling
Thank you.
in.
Thank you so much, man.
All right.
Take care.
Stay cool, guys. Bye-bye.
Great conversation. Good group of guys. The Alpine Camp. Charles Etienne and Chris Bell, 2 very humble musicians. they the type of guys that didn't want to put themselves out there as if they were bragging or being too forceful. But I promise it's some good music coming out of the Alpine Camp. You can go check them out. Go support them. It's thealpinecamp.com. Go check them out. And that is all for today's episode here on the Radio Random Network. I hope you enjoyed it. You can tell us that you enjoyed it by going to rate and review the show on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. That helps with the algorithms. It helps us get out there and get heard more, you know. And we appreciate any and all of the support that you can give us. Don't forget, Friday, I'm going to be joined by Mr. Daryl Singletary, country music icon, you know, and also up-and-coming recording artist, Mr. Bryan Collins, is going to be here with me as well. Be sure and tune in for that. Don't forget to visit www.rrnonline.com to find the show notes and listen to all the past episodes, including the interview with Charlie Daniels and Mickey Gilley and T. Graham Brown and Low Cash. By the way, shout out to Low Cash. They have hit #1 on Sirius XM's Outlaw Country Show. And great group of guys. With all that said, I'll be right here Friday, so be sure and tune in. I'm #RDM Russell Devin McLain. We'll talk at you Friday.